Hi, welcome to how to export formatted dates and times when considering time zones. Hopefully you've seen the video on how to export dates, and you've looked at how to format dates with TCC exports. One thing that we did during that export is start looking at how to use the date pieces to pull out just the month, pull out just the year. And we do have the ability to do that with the time as well. Um, so one thing to really keep an eye out for, and this is unfortunately a limitation of how the time is stored in the Taleo zone, as well as some of the limitations in the conversion of that date field into anything that's formatted with a date. So let's take a look at what we have here. So this is possibly a familiar export. If you've seen some of our other videos, this is a basic application export. We're pulling out the application number, the candidate number, the requisition contest number, and the completed date of that that application being completed. So when we pull out this completed date, and let me go ahead and just run this, I will go ahead and add a formatted date here. So let me add a different format here that pulls in the time, and I'll work through this one by one. So what we actually want to pull in here is the hour, and I want to be very specific as to like AM, PM. So what I'm going to use is HH, but I'm going to use the 12-hour format. That'll give me, 1 through 12 with AM and PM. I'll take the minutes, which is MI, and then I'm going to put in AM. So that's going to give me whether it's AM or PM, depending on that 12-hour clock. And then what I want to pull in is the month, and I want to spell it out, and I want to remove the space. So this is actually FM month. So that will pull out the actual name text of the month. And then I want to use day, comma, year, and I'm going to remove the rest of this here. So what this is going to create is it's going to create a 12-hour hours and minutes, AM and PM, the month in text, the day, and then comma, year. So let's go ahead and run this, and we'll see what comes out. I'm using a last run date filter here, so let me make sure that everything is set up. It is still set to January 1st, so that should give me results. So let's go ahead and run that and see what this looks like. So let's open up the latest file here. We'll open it up in Notepad++. And let's start looking at some of these times. So what you'll notice here is that the standard date and time does have a hour and minutes that it's removed from the meridian, right? So GMT, that is the standard, and we know that -5 is Eastern time, and -4 is also Eastern time, and the difference is whether it's daylight savings time or standard time. So what's happening here is that the dates are stored like this in the zone, and it moves depending on whether or not you're in daylight savings times or not. So January 22nd is actually standard time. So it's going to be 5 hours before. And then once we've moved into March, we've moved into daylight savings time, and we're only 4 hours of change here. So say that you needed to move this to Central Time. We can't actually determine what this time is. Like if I wanted to add EDT or EST on here, or maybe convert it, more importantly, to maybe Central Time, I'm actually not able to use the time zone here. I'm not able to use formatting in this export. Let me go to this formatted complete date, right? So if I wanted to add like EST, EDT, and figure out which one's which, I can't pull in this -4 or -5 into the export. It drops that completely. And that's a limitation of the functions, the SQL functions that we're using behind the scenes, which is the toChar function that takes a date field and formats it into a string. It simply does not have the ability to format time zones or consider time zones. So something that you have to do here is actually, we could hard code it here, but we've got to figure out what it belongs to. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a case statement. So I'm going to show you how to create that with the code here. So here we have a scaffolding of a case statement. This is a complex projection. It's called switch by criterion. And then we create cases where we evaluate if something is true, and then we take an appropriate action, and then we have a default value. So what we want to do here is we want to evaluate if the completed date is during daylight savings time or during standard time. And so this is the statement that I'm going to use here. So I'm looking on whether or not the completed date is between November 3rd and March 8th. And in that case, that's going to be standard time, or if it's between November 1st and March 14th of 2000, it's also going to be standard time. Otherwise, and this is the default action, it's going to be daylight savings time. So this is going to be about our evaluation. We will put this into the case statement here. So this is saying in the case that the date falls either between these dates or between these dates, we're going to take this action. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to calculate what the difference is between central time and Eastern time. So in this case, we're going to take the completed day, we're going to divide the integers by 24, and we're going to add that amount to our date. In this case, it's -1 to get to, and this is actually going to be CST, right? So then we can copy this. This is the action that we're going to take here. So this tells us if the date is between this date or this date, this is the calculation that we do. And otherwise, it's going to be CDT. So let's go ahead and add that here. So what we want is, let's take this action. We're going to make that the default. Right? If it's not in CST, it is in CDT. Okay, and those are our case statements. So let's go ahead and add that here to our complex projection. We'll save this. Let's make sure that I have reset our LRD. And let's run this and check out our results. All right, there you go. We now have, so this is Eastern time, and then this is Central time. And so we've been able to convert the time formatted and to the correct time zone. So I hope that helps you see how you can create a case statement, as well as make sure that you have the right formatted date for your time zone available in your exports.